New tonight, state leaders say there is not one answer to stopping violence in schools, but many. And that's why they asked parents, teachers, students, and law enforcement to all come together for their suggestions. There is a collective goal here of keeping students safe. WFMY News 2's Alma McCarty attended a forum in Greensboro tonight where they all sat down to tackle the problems.
After the school shooting in Parkland, Florida, state leaders here at home decided enough was enough.
It's human nature to say that's horrible, but it's not going to happen where I live. It's not going to happen in my backyard. And that is simply not true.
Forming a task force, they came up with different categories to work on. First, training school resource officers. Then, the physical security to a school building, both old and new. Third, a better way to address threats and potential threats early on. Next, fixing communication between law enforcement agencies and schools. And finally, finding all those other gaps and changing laws to fill them. Robert Evans is the chair of the governor's crime commission, but says his team doesn't have all the answers.
We're looking at it from one perspective. The people who live it every day have ideas that I think we need to continue to think about and incorporate as we look for solutions.
In a packed room Thursday night, that's what happened. People from all points and perspectives across our area weighed in.
School safety is my top priority.
No more unfunded mandates.
It doesn't take a lot to see, oh, that person's murdering a lot of people. That's the bad guy.
You never know when the student is going to retaliate or find that gun that the teacher is armed with.
If you have a carefully selected and properly trained resource officer, you're going to make a difference in your school.
Everyone here today should be a mentor to a teenager.
Two High Point Central students, John and Annabelle, say talks like this are necessary as long as their voices are heard too.
It's often difficult to hear adults or people not even related with the school speak for us.
Despite the tragedy, hope can arise, and so I think that's been what's gotten me through.
Many voices, a common goal for safer schools on the horizon. In Greensboro, Alma McCarty, WFMY News 2.
The Committee on School Shootings will compile the comments and file a report straight to the governor and the Department of Public Safety by the beginning of the new year.